There is one rule in America: where big money moves, big bloodshed follows. But some organizations stand above ordinary street crime. Groups that control cities, neighborhoods, prisons, and the lives of thousands. Today, the top 10 most dangerous gangs in the United States. The true story of those who have kept the streets in fear for decades. We begin with two monsters. Number 10, MS-13, the gang that kills over a tattoo. MS-13 is one of the most brutal gangs ever established on U.S. soil. Born in El Salvador, it spread across America, from New York to California. According to the New York Times, federal prosecutors linked MS-13 to more than 55 murders in just the last 10 years. The gang cuts, beats, strangles, often without even checking who the victim is. In May, 10 men were arrested for 3 murders in Queens. One right on a subway platform, one in broad daylight on a sidewalk, one near a public park. One of the victims was a 17-year-old boy. They killed him simply because his tattoos looked similar to those of a rival gang. He was completely innocent. MS-13 doesn't make mistakes, it just kills. Number 9, Bloods and Crips, a war lasting more than 50 years. These are the two most infamous street gangs in America. Bloods, red; Crips, blue. Their feud began back in the 1960s when a group of Crips beat 2 students in Compton. One of the victims formed a gang to protect locals. But the Crips wiped out anyone who stood in their way. By the late 1970s, dozens of smaller groups united into the Bloods, and a territory war started that still hasn't ended. Today, the Bloods have at least 15,000 active members in the eastern United States. Their main business is crack cocaine distribution. Crips remain their eternal enemy, and this war will never end. Number 8, Aryan Brotherhood, the white mafia that kills to gain membership. The Aryan Brotherhood is not just a gang. It is a death machine operating both inside and outside the prisons of the United States. Federal estimates put their numbers at around 20,000 members. But here is the terrifying part. They represent a critically small percentage of the prison population. Yet they are responsible for most murders committed inside American prisons. They are pure neo-Nazis. Their rules are simple. You can join only if you are white. To become a brother, you must kill an inmate of another race. Their business includes drugs, extortion, prostitution, and contract hits. The organization was born in the 1960s after segregation inside prisons ended. When black, Latino, and white inmates were suddenly placed together, each group formed its own gang. The Aryan Brotherhood became the most predatory, the first fully white prison mafia. Today, they remain one of the most dangerous criminal structures in America. Number 7, Yakuza, the Japanese mafia that operated in the U.S. until it was declared a national security threat. Although the Yakuza is associated with Japan, they actively operated in the United States for many years. During the Barack Obama administration, their influence became so strong that the U.S. Treasury Department officially froze all Klan-owned assets and banned them from conducting business with American companies. The reasons: human trafficking, large-scale money laundering, illegal prostitution, underground financial schemes generating billions of dollars a year. But the Yakuza is not a chaotic street gang. It is a corporation with a clan hierarchy, strict structure, and what are essentially mafia-level executives. The U.S. government targeted the top. Kenichi Shinoda and Kiyoshi Takayama lost all American assets and were effectively expelled from the country. But when an organization has 80,000 members in Japan, one boss leaving simply means another takes his place. The Mexican Mafia, the prison organization that became a god of the streets. The Mexican Mafia, or La M, is one of the most violent and influential criminal structures in America. It was founded by Luis Flores in 1957 inside the Duell Vocational Institution in California. At first, the gang protected Spanish-speaking inmates, but within 3 years it grew into a force feared even by guards. By 1960, their power expanded far beyond prison walls. Illegal gambling, drug trafficking, massive extortion, control over East Los Angeles street gangs. All money flowed directly into the pockets of La M. In the 1990s, law enforcement finally began breaking their structure, and in 1995, the FBI used the RICO Act, the same law that destroyed the Italian Mafia. 22 high-ranking members were arrested. It looked like the end, but it wasn't. The organization simply raised a new generation of leaders. The Mexican Mafia still controls drug flow and prison systems across California. Weaker, yes. Destroyed, absolutely not. 5. Barrio Azteca, cartel killers who turned Texas into a combat zone. Barrio Azteca is one of the most brutal gangs in North America. It isn't even a gang. It's an army operating on both sides of the border in Texas and Mexico. Their leader is on the FBI's most wanted list. The reasons are obvious: the murder of a pregnant U.S. consulate employee, systematic torture, professional contract killings, human trafficking, drug operations worth billions of pesos. Barrio Azteca are official partners of major cartels. They work with the Mexican Mafia, MS-13, several northern Mexico drug cartels. But they also have deadly enemies, the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel. If not for this cartel war, Barrio Azteca would already dominate the entire southern United States. Today, they count thousands of members on both sides of the border. El Paso is their epicenter. This is not street crime. This is a paramilitary structure living by the law of the jungle. Number 4, Hells Angels, the biker cult that became a criminal empire. The Hells Angels are not just a motorcycle club. They are a brand, a religion, a legend, and one of the most recognizable criminal symbols in America. Year of foundation, 1948, Fontana, California. The name was taken from World War II bomber crews. For the first 20 years, they were the rock stars of the criminal world. Bar fights, armed clashes, killings performed as initiation rituals. But by the 1970s, police realized something crucial. The Hells Angels were not just hooligans. They were a multi-layered criminal machine. They were involved in manufacturing and distributing methamphetamine, extortion, weapons trafficking, violent raids, contract assaults. By the 1980s, they had captured chapters across America and Canada, hundreds of branches from New York to New Zealand. Today, they try to appear softer, charity rides, toy drives for children. But history can't be erased. The Hells Angels remain one of the most famous criminal organizations on the planet. Fire number 3, the Mongols. The small club that defeated the Hells Angels through pure brutality. The Mongols appeared in 1969. At first, it was just a motorcycle club for guys who weren't accepted into the Hells Angels. But within 15 years, the Mongols transformed into an armed army. Today, they have 2,000 active members, most of them Latino men. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms calls the Mongols the most violent gang in America. The reasons: racially motivated violence, attacks on African American civilians and rival gangs, regular murders, drug trafficking, territory control through force. Their defining moment was the biker war with the Hells Angels in the 1980s. The Angels were much larger, but the Mongols still won. They seized Southern California through force, blood, and absolute ruthlessness. Since then, the Mongols have become a symbol of how a small group can defeat a giant if they are insane enough to fight until the end. Fire number 2, Simon City Royals, one of the oldest and most hardcore white gangs in the U.S. The Simon City Royals appeared in 1952. This makes them one of the oldest continuously operating street gangs in America. At first, they were just a small Chicago street clique. But by the 1960s, they had evolved into a major criminal structure involved in drug smuggling, racketeering, armed assaults, killings of rival gang members. Their enemies included the Latin Kings, the Imperial Gangsters, and dozens of local crews. In the 1960s, they fought a bloody war with a gang called the Royals. Simon City lost, and to survive, they were forced to merge. This is how the Simon City Royals we know today were born. Today, they remain extremely active, controlling the north side of Chicago, maintaining presence in Wisconsin and Mississippi, exerting massive influence inside prisons. This is one of the most organized and dangerous white gangs in the United States. Fire number 1, the Black Spades, the gang that started as protectors and fell into chaos. The Black Spades emerged in the late 1960s in the Bronx, but their story is one of the most unusual in American gang history. Originally, they were not a criminal crew, but a group of teenagers inspired by the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam. Their goal was to protect the neighborhood from racism and drug dealers. They even had an entirely female chapter, almost unheard of at the time, but popularity destroyed them. By the early 1970s, waves of new teens joined the group, but they didn't care about ideology. They wanted power and violence. The Black Spades turned into a typical street gang: drug dealing, assaults, turf fights, chaos. By the 1990s, the organization had nearly fallen apart, but something incredible happened in 2019. The gang was reborn under a new name, the Black Spades New Direction, and became a community service group. Now they help the poor, organize anti-violence campaigns, run food distribution programs, and this is one of the rarest cases where a gang completely changed its identity. 10 gangs, 10 stories, each one worthy of a full-length film. MS-13, Bloods, Crips, Yakuza, Hells Angels, Mongols, Aryan Brotherhood. Their names are known even to people who never cared about crime. These groups control drug trafficking in the streets, wage wars over neighborhoods, commit dozens of murders, influence regional economies, keep entire cities and states in fear. But the most important thing they show is how fragile order really is, because sometimes a few hundred armed people can change the lives of millions. This is the dark side of America, a shadow that exists right now.